So chapter 245 of Eden Zero was out, and another solid chapter. It was very chill, it had a lot of character interactions that I was honestly really enjoying, and the way this chapter ended off was something that I just brought a smile to my face. While this wasn't anything too huge in terms of like lore or setting up the next section of the story, which it does do in this section, but I do feel like there's a much needed sense of levity, especially for the Eden Zero crew, as we don't really have as much of them just chilling on the ship or in whatever planet they're on and just having a good time. So I think them having just one big party to celebrate the fact that they managed to stop a megamaniacal maniac from literally blowing up a large majority of a single solar system. So yeah, I feel like it's much needed, and it just is really nice to see them just have a good time. But before we get into this review, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows you guys want to see more of my content in the future. I do really enjoy Eden Zero, and I want to keep this stuff going as long as I possibly can, because I just love this series oh so much, and it'd mean the world to me if you guys supported this type of content. But all the introductions out of the way, let's get right into the chapter. So chapter 245 of Eden Zero, Like the Deep Blue Sea, starts with us seeing Rebecca in a really beautiful dress, as it is 3 days after what is known as the Mueller Rebellion. And Izuna actually gave Rebecca this dress, and it's just nice seeing these two interacting and having a nice conversation with Laguna and Shiki in the background, just discussing everything as well. And they're wondering where Shura is. But they state that he is the Emperor, so with the fallout of everything that just happened, he's kind of busy at the moment, and he'll come in later. But despite Shura having to go through a bunch of hoops and stuff, they still let the Eden Zero crew stay in Shura's big-ass mansion for 3 whole days, and they even invited them to this nice, beautiful banquet. And as we go through this chapter, all the Eden Zero crew are in these nice, fancy, and cool-looking dresses and suits, which I have to say look really awesome, and I'll get into that once we get a full shot of all their outfits. But yeah, they're getting ready to just have a good old party, and we basically get to see the characters that were previously fighting in the previous universe meeting up and having a conversation, like Milani and Homura talking about how Milani's grandfather, who basically raised her, is an android, and they're talking with Valkyrie, and they're like, you're just like Shiki and Ziggy, if that's really the case, with a child having an android as a grandparent. And the old android is just saying, it's very fascinating that you are an android with human prestige. As Calum and Jin meet each other and are like, man, to think I would run into you in a place like this. As they shake hands, say it's good to see you again. He then looks at Clean and says, huh, so this is the sister I've heard so much about. She's cute. As Clean just says, yeah, nice to meet you, and Jin just threatens to kill Calum if he lays a hand on her, being the overprotective older brother that he is. We then cut to Pino talking to Xenolith, as they're wondering if there's any changes with him, as he states his power has not returned to him yet. But he states that it might actually be better this way, as in reality he died a long time ago, his human life has already ended, and besides, my power has already been passed down, as he looks over at Shiki, implying that, yes, even though Shiki in the last universe did get stronger thanks to Xenolith, it's very possible that when Shiki defeated Mueller, maybe he accidentally got some of Xenolith's power added into him. This is me just spitballing here, that is a possibility. I have no clue, but that's kind of what this moment implies. Or maybe it's just going by his will or his teachings with the Satan's gravity powers are in good hands with Shiki right now. We then get some commotion as Holy enters the banquet hall, looking amazing as ever. Mashima, thank you for giving us more Holy. I'm gonna simp in every goddamn chapter of this series from this point onward, aren't I? Now moving on, we have a few sound bites of just random people in the background talking about, the Imperial government, and how there's been problems and all that, giving us a bit more background for the Narrow Empire and why the Irrational Seis and the Union Army are there. We then cut to Fabiano as he's talking with Jaguar, Feather, and Victory. As Victory states that we appreciate that you've maintained peace and order among the surrounding minor planets, throughout the Aoi cosmos. But those Imperial antimatter bombs, we can't really overlook those, as Fabiano's like, yeah, I kind of see your point. Victory goes over to him and says, look, we won't demand that you dismantle them right away, but could you at least think about it, as Fabiano is just like sweating bullets right now about literally, oh, we have a bunch of these incredibly powerful and potentially illegal bombs on our home planet that a mad scientist was about to use to not only blow up this planet, but countless surrounding planets. And they're saying, okay, look, I'm not going to arrest you, but you gotta get rid of these things, please. And I feel for Fabiano here, because like, oh damn, these are so much bad stuff right now. This could get us in some deep shit. Oh man, I feel really bad for Fabiano right now. But hey, at least they're giving him some time and they're not arresting anybody or doing anything at all. So at least the Horatio Stace Interstellar are being relatively reasonable right here. And they're like, okay, look, we're not going to like make you do this right away. But just think about it, okay? Because you can't really have all that stuff here, especially what just happened. Moving onward, we cut to Amira as she's getting wasted. Can I have a drink with Amira, please? I'm doing it again, aren't I? Anyway, so Homura goes up to saying, like, I'm surprised to find you in the Horatio Stace. As Amira gets close to her and says, what? You make it sound like you've met me before. Oh, speaking of which, it seems like Rebecca said that she's known me before too. And she says, you know what this is? You remember me from a previous world, don't you? Which shocks Shiki and Y's like, how the heck do you know this? As Amira's just laughing like she's teasing them. But Holy then comes on with Eraser, saying that she knows because a certain someone told us. And, well, Shiki goes over to Holy and says hello. And she's like, oh, so you know me too. And she jokes, saying like, perhaps we were lovers in the previous world. First off, I just gotta say, I love everything with the Horatio Stace right now. But I gotta say, Eraser, I think I both love and hate his outfit. Black and white on one side. Two sides, I feel like it fits his character from what I could tell with how his hair changes whenever he uses either gear. It just feels weird and out of place. At least for me. But Hermit overhears and says, a certain someone. So this implies that somebody that we've known told them about previous worlds and everything. So something might be going on here. Maybe someone we haven't met yet. Or someone that we've met but haven't, met in the new universe yet. I don't know. For all we know, it could have been Ziggy before he died. He gave information to Horatio Stace about these types of things. Or heck, it could even be Labilia or Couchpo or someone else that was on the Eden Zero crew. Maybe Connor, since they haven't met Connor yet. Building up some mystery. I'm liking it right here. But yeah, Razor goes on to say, look, we can talk about it here, but I have a better idea. Why don't we all meet at Red Cave? Which is the cave where we met Nadia right when we entered the Aoi Cosmos in the first place around the start of the story after dealing with Dragon Joe. Which, funny thing, the anime, the weekend after this video comes out, is literally when we're going to be entering Red Cave in the anime for the first time. So, this seems oddly convenient timing that the anime is getting there for the first time, and here in the manga, we're going to re-enter that planet for this next portion of the story, which I can only believe is going to be a lore dump and some exposition to help set things up for the final conflict of this arc. We then get word that Shura is about to start a speech, and they actually ask the Eden Zero crew to wait in this specific area. The Shining Stars don't seem too impressed about this, and Hermit's a little annoyed. Same with Sisters, like what? You're some kind of big shot, as they're wondering what his speech is going to be about. Shura then enters the main stage and addresses everybody in the Aoi Cosmos through a broadcast, as he gets attention to all the humans and machines of the Aoi Cosmos, as he gives a brief rundown of how the Narrow Empire was created, saying that there was constant warfare in the Aoi Cosmos, and tired of all of this, his predecessor, Poseidon Narrow, decided to conquer several of the planets. But he says, well, to be blunt, he invaded them, and I cannot change that fact. As we actually get a small panel of Draken and Narrow drinking on a couch in the Sakura Cosmos, probably just watching this all unfold on TV, as Dragon's like, man, Narrow, you were a real jerk, weren't you? I want to just have, a side chapter or an OVA of just Narrow and Draken going about business as usual. That would just be like comedic gold right there. I legitimately feel that. But anyway, back to Shura's speech. He says that, but this empire has now grown too large, and I am aware of the reality that this has become a threat to Aoi. Our goal is not to expand our territory or form a dictatorship. What we want is a world where everyone can live in peace and security, as he proclaims to everybody that he is abolishing the imperial government and he's announcing the beginning of the Aoi Cosmos Republic, much to the shock and glee of a bunch of the citizens. As even Oasis is like, wait, is he serious? Is this really the same Shura that we know? Which goes to show that a bunch of the events in Universe Zero before the crew got together and now with the crew coming have changed Shura's whole perspective on things and is basically inspired him to do things for the better. So now he's not going to just dictate everything with his whole Imperial army. He's actually going to make it so that we have a republic in the Aoi Cosmos. I can presume I think the Sakura Cosmos does the same thing. I believe, like, every planet has their own little government to get together. That's probably what I'm envisioning right now that he's planning to do right now, because he can't keep this whole thing going forever, as the larger an empire that spans an entire cosmos, the harder things are going to end up being, and it can end up causing a lot of problems. Case in point, Mueller was actually, that probably was a wake-up call for Shura, considering all the chaos and even oversight with all this stuff that happened in the recent couple of chapters. But he then motions behind him as he says, I would like to introduce you to some friends of mine who saved the Aoi Cosmos when it was in peril, with the light shining on the Eden Zero crew, and a full 2-page spread, with the top half literally just being the entirety of the Eden Zero crew, just in a spotlight.
Oh my god! Wow!
And this is the panel that I really wanted to just showcase how all the crew members just look really awesome in these outfits. I want to see them in more different outfits, and I think having them in these like nice like formal attire every now and again for like celebrations or whatever is just really nice. They look awesome. I just wanted to gush about it. As the whole crew was just surprised at this, because this is all one big surprise on Shura's part, as then everyone in the crowd, the Ocean Six, and even Shura himself get down on their knees, as Laguna states that this is an Aoi salute, where Shura then recites, I believe, the whole salute of the Aoi Cosmos, as he lets out his deepest and sincerest gratitude towards everybody. As Shiki says, come on man, stop it. We're friends, aren't we? As Shura looks up and smiles and says, yeah, we are. As these two finally shake hands, ending the chapter. Now I know some people are still kind of upset with the fact that we got a full reset in a sense with Universe Zero, but I think this was needed. And I think Shura, being a good person and him and Shiki finally being friends is something that I think we were all expecting to happen in this universe after we noticed that certain characters were alive again. And I feel like Mashima wanted this to be the case as well. And I think he's setting up for one big war for the end of Eden Zero, because while we do have some nice allies in the forms of the Interstellar, we also got Shura and his companions. We also got Draken, Joe, and Nero off in the Sakura Cosmos. They're probably going to play a role in this upcoming story arc. And with this 2-page spread, I have to say this is most likely like the final roster that we're getting for the Eden Zero going into the final battle, in the battle against Void and his Arasion Seis Galactica and his Dark Stars. Which funny thing is that Zenolith is not a part of that anymore. Mueller's gone, so I can only assume there's only 5 members there. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. We got our final roster, essentially. I think this is Mashima just stating these are the characters that are going to 100% fight Void and his whole army. We're probably not going to get Lobelia or Couchpo back because they're non-combatants and they probably won't really contribute much to the final war. So they'll probably be introduced and just like stay out of the actual fight. We'll probably get Connor back because he needs to pilot the ship since he is the best captain out there. And honestly, I'm happy with how things in this Aoi section occurred. Was it fast? Yes. Am I upset that Jin didn't get the chance to take out Mueller? Yes, I am. It's not perfect. Let's be honest. It's not perfect, but I think Mashima is doing the best that he can. And I think this arc, while fast, does not feel rushed. If this was rushed, we would have finished this whole span of chapters like a while ago, with each chapter just being new character, add on to the crew. Boom, we finish this, we jump into the final battle. Mashima is definitely taking his time with this to an extent, but also not slogging down the pacing from what I can gather. But I'm excited to see what happens next, as we're probably going to enter Red Cave. I'm curious to see how things are going to be different there, who this certain somebody is, and how this final arc is going to conclude. But that's it for me in this chapter for Eden Zero. Leave your thoughts and opinions and theories down in the comment section down below. How do you feel about this final arc so far? Are you a bit disappointed with how the Mueller thing ended, but are you happy that Shiki and Shura finally, after like over 100 chapters, finally like shook hands after that whole thing in the first Aoi arc? And who do you think this certain somebody that Holy mentioned is? Leave your theories down in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It helps a lot and keeps me motivated to keep these Eden Zero reviews going. And all that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed and hope you all have an awesome day.